Nice bread this is, a nice table. We're here, now we're going to begin to eat this wonderful meal. I just want to mention the fact that we're here on the island where both Bob, Ellen, and Judge Saldana live. And that's the reason why I'm wearing the island outfit.
She has the look.
I thought, just get in the the island time and the island feel. So, Manukian, I guess we start with the lettuce. So I'm going to go ahead and...
What I've got here on the table is just plain iceberg lettuce, and you just fill up your plate with lettuce, and then you put the remoulade sauce right on top of it. I have a lovely Italian bread with butter. I found out that doing a little bit of research, I always think of remoulade as being a Creole French thing, but it's actually very popular in Denmark.
Oh, really?
They put it all over like chips. And I had no idea, but it's also very, very popular in Denmark. I don't know how it got there.
And what an easy meal to make. I mean, it just...
Quick, and it's perfect for the summer. Just perfect.
No cooking, no stove time.
Nope, doesn't get your house hot.
Ellen, just over the lettuce, the bed of lettuce, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
It smells great.
Now, as I mentioned, this is the yellow variety. If you were to take this very similar recipe and add a bunch of ketchup to it, it would be pink or red, and you often see that. But this is the way I like it.
It looks just delicious.
There's salt and pepper also, folks.
Okay.
And we have a little bit of Tabasco once you've tasted it.
Ooh, you can't go wrong with Tabasco.
Well, that's a real bulk staple.
Well, Ellen, I've just fallen in love with this iced tea. Before I leave today, you're going to have to give me the name, and I'm going to go hunt for it.
It's a wonderful organic iced tea that makes the whole meal very, very healthy.
This looks absolutely delicious.
Okay.
So, Bob, I guess, you get to live with Ellen and eat these wonderful meals all the time, right? They're just delicious.
No. I get too much credit.
Oh, you
My
do?
husband is also an extraordinary cook.
Awesome.
His specialty is Mideast food.
We came to the right place.
Oh, he
for
does
cooking,
falafels
definitely.
and hummus. He's also, and he was probably a saucier in his previous life. The man does great gravies.
Awesome, awesome.
He really, so we both love to cook and entertain. We have our specialties.
Mm-hmm. And Judge, let's talk a little bit about what is it that you're trying to change or keep?
Well, I think we're ready for another district court, an additional district court in Nueces County, because the load has just grown tremendously. I was reviewing some of my numbers as I prepare for some of my presentations throughout the community, and over these past 44 months I have disposed of some 6,500 cases, and those are final dispositions. Those are not all of the hearings. You practice in our courts, Rose, and you're aware that there are many pre-trial hearings that are not dispositive of a case, so there's a tremendous load on the courts of Nueces County. That's one thing, and I think experience goes a long way to addressing the serious cases before the court, and I bring that experience to the bench. 15 years now, and enjoying it very, very much.
I think it is important to note that we have such a litigious society today. Judges have to have experience, because in the end you have people that are looking, hoping something will get said or done or directions given to a jury that will be the perfect excuse for a mistrial, for an appeal, which ultimately will also overwhelm the system. So I think you really need a judge that is cognizant of this at all times, and that comes with experience. Knowing when to lay the law down, when to be quiet, when to object, honor an objection. And those kind of things can't be taught in a classroom. They can't be taught as part of a private practice. You really need that kind of experience, because so much about being an effective judge involves discretion. And it's just a maturity level also, in only the most positive sense.
I know that both you and Bob are awfully busy people. Bob is one of the leaders in our community. He's been very politically active and involved. But I invite you, Ellen, to, when you have a few spare moments, I invite you to come and sit and observe not only my court, but other courts and actions. And I really invite members of the community to come when you have an afternoon or a morning where
That's
you have some
excellent.
time.
That's an excellent idea, Judge. I like that. People need to come and see just exactly what you do in the courtroom so they can see that for themselves. I know that you have a very busy schedule and a docket, and but still, the public is invited to come anywhere in the court
Absolutely.
to see any trial. And there's some very, very interesting trials, I know, in your courtroom that you have to deal with anywhere from, what type of cases, Judge? Do you want to tell us what you normally hear or the type of cases you hear?
Unlike courts rather, like Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, the courts of Nueces County remain courts of general jurisdiction. So every day at my work is an interesting day because I don't handle one single category of cases, like I'm not solely a criminal court or solely a probate court or solely a family law court. I am a court of general jurisdiction, so I'll oversee everything, as I mentioned a few moments ago, like a capital murder trial, a child custody case, and so on. So it is wonderful, rewarding work.
It sounds very interesting, something I don't think I could ever get bored with.
That's right.
One thing that I notice is, and when I see in the newspaper, I see lots of articles in here as I read through our local newspaper, and I see that many times these terrible people are being put away for some very long sentences. I realize there are laws that limit and basically suggest what sentences can be, but having a son and a daughter, it just makes me feel so much more comfortable to know that Judge Saldana is there in our district court and putting these people away, these people like rapists and murderers and child abusers, the kind of people that if they're found guilty, the thing that makes me feel good is I know she's not going to be handling them with kid gloves. If they're found guilty, she's going to make sure that they're going to serve the time for the crime that they did, and they're put away where they're not going to be affecting our community anymore, and those children get to grow up without these bad people around. And that's one thing that I really feel good about knowing Judge Saldana's there, because I see week after week when I look in our Caller Times newspaper, and I'll be reading about some crime, and I'll see they'll mention Judge Saldana's name as the judge, and I'll go, wow, she had another really rough case. It's amazing these things they give her.
It seemed for a while there like I had a number of cases, pretty serious cases assigned to the 148, but they're randomly assigned, believe it or not. They're randomly assigned, and I think when you have children that have been victims of and other citizens, victims of violent crimes such as we've seen, it is important to get those cases to trial before a jury as soon as possible so that justice may be served, both for the victim and the community.
Yeah. And there was something you said earlier I wanted to ask. It sounded like you said in the past 44 months you'd had several thousand, and I'd like to get you to tell me that number again, but it sounded like a huge number of cases that you disposed of, and I was just wondering.
6,500 cases.
I thought you said over 6,000, and that's incredible that in such a short amount of time so many cases could be disposed of. And I was wondering, is that a routine sort of number? I mean, that sounds like a pretty hefty load for one judge to have dealt with. I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Nueces County has some hard-working judges. When I took the reins of the 148th District Court, I found a considerable backlog in the court's workload. So I pressed ahead with all diligence, and I was working at pretty feverish intensity. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know which, I have not decreased that intensity, so I can continue to dispose of cases at a pretty nice clip.
Wow.
And I want to continue doing that.
And I believe you're going to do that too, Judge. I've seen you in action in the courtroom, and I've got to say that she's a very fair judge. I've seen cases anywhere from, family type cases all the way to criminal type cases. and she is on the same, she treats everyone fair, and that's what I like best about Judge Saldana, is that she can be fair in her courtroom. So, and that's exactly what we need in Nueces County is judges that are fair and that take things at face value, and then they just do things exactly the way they are supposed to be done by the law. So,
Indeed.
yeah.
We have some juries that have handed down pretty strong punishment, as you have referred to, Bob, and I think it sent out a message to this community that we've had enough. We've had enough of the juvenile crime. We've had enough of gang crime. There was a time there when it seemed like gangs were trying to make a statement. Guess who owns this community? We do. Well, you're wrong. We have a new police chief, as we all know.
Yes.
He's a wonderful man. And between the great work of the police department and their leader, Chief Riggs, and the work of the hard work that the courts are doing, we are going to get the upper hand. We have gotten, I think, the upper hand in terms of crime control.
And Judge, you were on the bench at the time when it was the most heaviest. Were you in the 148th or the county court at law? I believe, wasn't this the 1990s during, I think it was late 90s when we had the really heavy gang problem, and just going to the store, I felt uncomfortable about just going to the grocery store at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening. I thought, oh, I want to get home safe. I want to get home safe. It seems like that has been really under control now. They've really got the police department, and I believe the courts.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
belief the police and the courts together
Yes,
are
ma'am.
responsible for making our lives a lot better here, and I know that Judge Saldana is responsible as well for this.
Well, it's important that we live in a community where you feel safe when you retire at the end of a day of hard work.
Absolutely,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
I just want to say, I was listening to NPR this morning about the election in Afghanistan. Do something a good part of the world dies for. Go out and vote on November the 2nd. It's a gift, a right, a responsibility.
I just want to thank you, Ellen and Bob, for inviting us over here to your wonderful kitchen and having this wonderful meal of shrimp remoulade. And also want to thank you, Judge.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your life experience with us in politics. We really did enjoy learning it. And I just want to remind everybody in the audience to please re-elect Judge Maricela Saldana. She has done a wonderful job for us, and she'll continue to do a wonderful job for us. So go to the polls. Don't forget, early voting begins October the 18th through the 29th. And election day is November the 2nd. We want everybody to get out and early vote. That's very, very important. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Kitchen Politics.